What's going on, guys? My name is SnyperSama, but you can call me Sniper. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have a new, updated, kind of titled 2.5-ish, because during the, we'll call it mid-season, they ended up updating a bunch of weapons. I believe it was 11 out of the whole 14. And Savage Axe got some tune-ups. It mainly got adjustments. There was a couple of changes to the motion values of the attacks, and the overcharge file systems wasn't working as intended. So it's not really so much as it got crazy buffed, but it did get some improvements, and I did notice a little bit of it. And so I wanted to create a build showcasing it, because if you guys know, when Title Update 2 happened, Savage Axe got nerfed. Not crazy amounts, but enough that it wasn't the only way to play Charge Blade. Well, I'm here to tell you that Savage Axe is back, and holy does it smack. So, I created a build specifically for it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Today, we are rocking my favorite Charge Blade, my Chrono Gear, which is a Rarity 8 Paralysis Charge Blade with 1 Affinity, 2 Attack, 4 more Attack for a follow-up of 6, 1 Elemental Boost. Could be better. Haven't gotten one. I'm Hunter rank 300 plus. I've got like 300 plus hours in the game. I haven't gotten one. This is as good as it's going to get. If you've got better, please let me know in the comments, because I think I've rolled at least 60 of these things. This is the best I got. Great sword, doesn't matter. Next up, we have the Gamma Ray Dow helmet, the arms, and then the Gamma Uthaduna greaves. Okay? Followed by the Lagiacrus coil beta and the male beta, so the chest plate and the waist, with the Exploiter Charm 2 and the Corrupted Mantle. Now, the majority of this build is pretty cookie cutter. There's not going to be a whole lot of differences in between different builds, especially weapons that benefit from multiple skills. And what I mean by that is Weakness Exploit, Agitator, Maximum Might. All of these different skills that are just good on the majority of the weapons end up being the majority of the skills that people go after. That's why it's called the meta. I do have a couple of builds coming that are a little off meta that I'm having a lot of fun creating. My brain decided, you know, hey, let's work. So, you guys, I hope you look forward to this. But, we're going to go ahead and continue. For our decorations, we have Shield Handicraft, Magazine Handicraft, and Handicraft level 3. And the reason for this is because it gives us guard up, which, if you don't know, on Charge Blade, when you get hit, even though you're guarding, you lose sharpness. And the reason for it is because the sharpness deteriorates in... what's the word? I forgot the word. In relation, there we go, to how much knockback you receive. Which means you're going to get hit, you're going to lose the sharpness, but you're also going to take damage. And because of that, especially if you're in a rough spot and you don't have your shield charged up on Charge Blade when you go to block, it can get kind of sketchy really, really fast. Because of that, I wanted guard up, and I also wanted, now that the new tempered 9-star monsters are out, I wanted to make sure that it was a little safer of a playstyle for anybody that was still struggling to fight some of these monsters. In my opinion, they're a little harder than the Arch-Tempered Ray Dow and Uthaduna. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like they've got so much more health. But we'll continue. We have Load Shells. Absolute must-have when you are playing Gunlands or Charge Blade. Without a doubt, you cannot change my mind. And then Handicraft level 5. And part of the reason for Handicraft is because, well, your boy didn't get any sharpness rolls on his Ardian weapon. So we kind of have to, we got to make up a little bit. I can't be rocking yellow sharpness the entire time, right? Next up, we have 1 Chain Jewel. The reason for that is we want burst. We have 1 Mighty Jewel to max out our Maximum Might. We have 1 Refresh Jewel, and this is for Stamina Surge. Stamina Surge is not one of those that's really required. You don't need it on Charge Blade, but it just so happens to fit in really well. If I were being honest, you could probably replace this with a Counter Jewel. If you're a really good player, you could even opt to do Peak Performance. Could do Resentment. Like, there's a couple different things here. I opted for the Refresh and the Counter, and the reason for it is because it allows Stamina Surge to come back. If you're guarding a lot, you want to make sure that your stamina is full so you can take advantage of the Maximum Might. and it's kind of like a little circle of synergy that allows you to keep going. We have the 1 adapt jewel, and this is to make sure that we're not taking any damage from the environment. We have 1, 2, and 3 challenger jewels. The reason for this is Agitator. Agitator currently is at level 4 with this build, which means we have attack plus 16 raw when the monster's enraged, and plus 10% affinity. You could opt to do something else with these challenger jewels and have 1 level of Agitator. The problem is I couldn't figure out what I really liked. For example, weakness exploits is already covered. Counterattack isn't the greatest because you're on Charge Blade. You don't really use Adrenaline Rush and go for those perfect dodges. You try to do guard points and perfect blocks. So I didn't see a point. Latent Power isn't a bad idea because we are rocking 2-piece Raidao, but I'm not a huge like Latent Power, oh my god, it's amazing guy. So you could opt for more burst. I don't think burst is crazy valuable after level 1. It's either level 1 or level 5. Any between, I disagree. Foray is a possibility. The problem is that it only happens ever so often, then it feels kind of like a wasted perk. I mean, even when we were taking up to level 12, you see, or level 4, you get plus 12 attack, plus 15% affinity, plus 16 attack, plus 10% affinity. There's a 3% affinity difference. I don't think that's worth it, personally. You could opt for Flare. Flare is an interesting one. The only problem is that Flare does not trigger off of the Savage Axe ticks when the axe is swinging and, like, chainsawing through the monster. It doesn't count those. It only counts the initial hit. So it's a little harder to proc and stuff like that. And then the rest you have level 2 slots. So, yeah, Agitator. Why not? We have 1, 2, 3 protection jewels, and that is because Divine Blessing, these monsters hit hard. So, to make sure that you don't have to worry about that, ideally, Divine Blessing. Lastly, we have the Jumping Jewel, and this is just to max out the evade extender. Thanks to the Udun Greaves, we have Quick Sheath. It is not required. You could, if I'm being honest, swap these out for the Gamma Rayed Out Greaves. They are also really good. The stun resistance is huge. Stamina surge is really nice. I opted to go the Uthduna Greaves, and the reason for it is the 2 level 1 deco slots. Because these monsters hit so hard, because there is so much going to these hunts now, especially if you're playing with other people, you don't want to be the person that's always carding. So, what better way to avoid that than to have Divine Blessing and take a little bit less damage? What is it, 45% of the time? 50% less damage, and I believe it's 45% chance at level 3. That being said, this build is pretty straightforward. There's not going to be a whole lot of differences in comparison, kind of like how everything was before Title Update 1, when Mizitsune came out, where everyone was rocking Gormagala and Arkfeld and all that. Your builds are going to end up overlapping a lot. Because of that, I am here trying to find where we can swap things around to make it more interesting for anybody that doesn't want to just be a quote-unquote meta slave. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of today's video. I'm not going to do a showcase. I am willing to bet you guys know what Savage Axe does. I'm willing to bet you know what Charge Blade does. And I'm willing to bet none of you want to see me get my ass kicked by a tempered rarity 9-star whatever Giga Chad monster that will put me in the ground. That being said, thank you all for coming and watching. Thank you all for hanging out. Don't forget to check out the rest of the YouTube videos detailing our Monster Hunter Wilds builds. And I will see all of you in the next one. Farewell.